All right. Welcome to the worst for Chad Austin. I got a. Ooh, that doesn't. Can you hear that? What? And I had a little reverb in there, but it's gone now. Never mind. All right. Welcome to the worst for Chad Austin. I got a guest with me today. Mr. Nick Simmons is here with me today.
How you doing?
Good, man. How you been?
Pretty good. Not bad.
Fuck yeah, man. So, I mean, I don't know Nick very well. We met via comedy.
Yeah.
He just headlined a show at the Improv, and I was lucky enough to do 5 minutes on it.
You did good.
Thank you. Thank you. I had fun that night. It was weird, man. Technically been doing it for about 3 years, but during the whole pandemic thing, I didn't do fucking anything. I just Zoom didn't feel right.
No, it was terrible.
You know, it just didn't feel right. And I was just like, I don't want to, I just don't want
It
to.
wasn't real comedy.
Yeah. And so there's been very few like real shows. It's mostly just been open mics in front of other comedians and
you know,
like some rooms like that are good because there's helpful people and they want to talk with you after your set and be like, hey, you know, try this, try that, and that's all good. But sometimes it feels like they're just trying hard not to laugh.
Oh yeah, it's like a Mexican stare down. You're like, all right, I'm gonna stare at you, you're gonna stare at me, and I guess we're just gonna pay the $5 to do this.
Yeah, we're all gonna pay the $5 and we're gonna get nothing out of this.
We could just stare at each other outside.
Yeah, dude, and for free.
Exactly.
And yeah, so like going into that show, like I'm gonna be honest, I was a little fucking nervous because it was the first one in front of a real audience in this past year. And I had like that 5 minutes that I had written like 2 months before, and I've maybe practiced it in front of a bunch of comedians like 8 or 9 times during that time. So I'm just sitting at home, just annoying my wife by just just over and over again. But then once I got there, and it's just. Max always throws a good show.
Oh yeah,
and the energy is always fun.
Yeah.
So it just kind of brought it down a little bit, and then it felt like once he called my name and I hit the stage, it was like the scroll at the beginning of Star Wars.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, that's all the words I need to say.
Yep.
And and it was great. And dude, you killed.
Oh, thank you, man.
Dude, I've seen you perform a few times, and I always love your sets.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Nick also has a really great podcast called Sets and Reps.
Yeah, it's we just started up a couple months back.
Yeah,
I wish we would have started earlier, but we just got the idea one day. We're like, let's just do it. You know?
Do you want to tell everybody what it is?
So, the main idea was there's so many like fitness influencers out there that have just no personality, and like I watch so many of these like influencers, and I'll get information from their videos, but they're just boring. And I was like, why not me and another comic who's in good shape do this, but in a funny way? So this way people could actually learn, and we are helping people learn, but in a funny way, so people actually retain this. It's not just boring, like this is this. We'd make it funny. We had punchlines to it.
Yeah.
This way, and then we do like everyone's favorite part is the natty or nots. It's like celebrities that we think people send us celebrities, and we figure out if they're natural or on steroids. And we do get some angry people, especially if they're a big fan. I've gotten a lot of hate messages, especially the Michael B. Jordan one.
Really?
A lot of hate messages from that one.
Oh, so you said he wasn't natty then? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because no one's gonna get pissed if you say he's natural.
Yeah.
I mean, I maybe some people do. Like if they don't like a person, do they get mad if you say he's natural?
I haven't gotten that yet.
No,
haven't gotten that yet.
Like just a spiteful ass fool.
We did do that to a guy. There's some bigger guy on TikTok who was coming at us. So we did a natty or not on him, and just even though he's not natty, obviously we're like, he's obviously natural. Look at him. He looks. It was
That's
fun.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stop what you're doing. Pause this. Subscribe to Sets and Reps on YouTube, and I'm sure you're on Spotify and everything else, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, just get it on the audio and get it on the video. Support my man here. Yeah, so that was just a quick introduction of how Nick and I know each other. We are going to get into a few things on this. I have a couple fun news stories. We're going to get into Nick's worsts. First thing I want to talk about, though, is something that I found very hilarious that I saw on the internet 2 days ago, was Kanye's been coming at Pete Davidson.
Oh, yeah.
For months now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just the rants and ravings of a lunatic. Like
it's wild.
And I will admit that I used to be one of the people that defended Kanye and everything he did.
I like Kanye a lot.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I'm not even not that it's his music that I love. I just like that he's just so out there. You know what I mean? And I'm like, he is a genius, but he's on that level where it's like he's so close to being crazy.
He's teetering the line.
There's a line between, what did it say, genius
and insanity.
Yeah, he's on that line hard.
No, dude, he's tightrope walking it, dude.
Everything he says he's gonna do, he does. Like he told everybody at the beginning he's gonna be a producer, and everyone's like, this kid's not gonna produce. Became a producer. Then he's like, I'm gonna make clothes. And I remember laughing at him like, he's not gonna make clothes and billionaire from that. And I'm just like, all right, what can't this guy do? But he does it in an insane way every time.
Yeah, and there's always like the argument of, he has an album coming out. Is he doing all this just to hype up publicity and whatnot? But this one I find is personal. Like this one is personal. So I don't think that this is just his normal publicity stunt, like, running into TMZ with a MAGA hat on saying that we chose to be slaves and shit.
That was wild.
That was wild, but I defended that one. But this one's been just one of those ones where it's like that train wreck you can't look away from.
I know. I've never followed him on social media until the whole Pete Davidson thing started. And I'm like, all right, I'll follow. I'll see how this goes. And then like today, he posted just a picture of my friend that I know from New York, Dave Cyrus, who writes for Pete stuff.
Well, yeah.
And I was like, what? In what weird universe is Dave Cyrus getting pictures of him getting posted on Kanye West's Instagram? I'm like, what is happening in the world?
So that was actually the thing that I wanted to bring up because it was hilarious. So Dave, Dave is close friends with Pete.
Yeah, they're best friends.
Yeah. And so Pete, during all of this, brought his social media back for like 2 days. Yeah. He came on Instagram. He didn't post anything. He got like 2 million followers in 2 days, and he deleted it again.
Yeah.
So Dave posted, I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago. It said a message from Pete, and it was screenshots of Pete Davidson's text messages to Kanye.
Text, yeah.
And it was basically like there was a long text in the beginning, like kind of just telling Kanye to chill out. Let me see. I think I have it right here.
I remember the best part of it too. I'll let you.
Like the best. There's a great part of this, but there's to give the people some context. Oh Jesus Christ! Stop that. Oh no. All right, never mind. Okay, so there's a long one that says basically it's just like, hey, I just want you to know that your wife's like an amazing person, blah blah blah, and I think that we need to get past this, and I'm spending time with your kids, blah blah blah, like all this shit, and Kanye's reply to him is, "Where are you?" And Pete Davidson's reply, and the only time he's taken a shot in this whole 2 months is, I'm in bed with your wife right now.
So good.
Then followed by a photo of him half naked in bed.
Yeah.
So he's not fucking around.
The best is right before that too. After all the death threats pretty much Kanye has been putting on Pete, Pete said the word fuck once.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, we're using profanity now? I'm like, you put a headless picture of him on your Instagram.
Yeah. You made a music video where you bury him.
Exactly. Yeah. You're yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, sure, let's call it art, whatever. It's your music, but like you made a music video where you bury him, and Pete said, "Fucking, oh, we're using profanities
that's
now.
Where we're drawing the line.
We're using profanities now, sir. I'm a man of God, sir."
Beheadings, yes, but curses, absolutely not.
And he's all beheadings. That's Old Testament shit. We're fine with that.
Exactly.
He's like, but
it's in my book.
We don't curse. We don't fucking curse around here. So yeah. So then Pete does the whole, I'm in bed with your wife thing. He even tells Kanye where he is and says, "Come meet me."
Yeah,
as almost like I'll square up with you right now.
He's a Staten Island kid for sure. He will.
Yeah. And Kanye's reply to that is, "I want to invite you to Sunday service." he's like, "Come to church."
He's like what? He's like that guy that comes to your door. Do you want to talk about Jesus? You're like, I'm eating dinner.
It's just like, dude, when I growing up in the Palm Springs area, we had a lot of Mormons.
Oh yeah.
Well, when I say a lot of Mormons, my family is also Mormon, but there was a lot of Mormons in the neighborhood too.
Excuse my question. This might sound stupid, but are they the ones that can have multiple wives?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
There is a sect of Mormonism that's mainly in like rural Utah that like polygamy is a big thing.
Yeah,
where it's like seven sister wives and shit.
Huh.
My family on my mom's side was a little bit more just the thing about Mormons is on Sundays they go to church for like 5.5 hours, and it's insane. I used to have to go with my grandparents, and it's brutal. It's like, as a kid, it makes you.
Wait, how long is it?
It's 5.5 hours.
Jeez.
It's 5.5 hour service.
Oh my God.
And as a kid, it just makes you say, "Why would I ever join this?"
Yeah.
And it's just like you're pushing the children away from this. You're like,
sure.
I have to sit here for how long?
That's the Joseph Smith religion, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Dum, 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 dum. Yeah, that one. And I remember one time I went. I'm going off topic, but one time I went to a family reunion. And I was probably like 16 at the time, and I was going to go into town to get a coffee, and I announced to the whole family, I was like, hey, I'm going to go to Starbucks. Anybody want anything? And Mormons are like vehemently opposed to caffeine. Like, it's like the devil.
Really?
And I didn't know this because I'm not a religious person, but they all looked at
How
me
could
like,
you keep up with 7 wives without caffeine?
that's what I thought.
I would need a coffee to start the day.
But dude, they all looked at me like I was the devil for just offering coffee.
Wow.
Yeah, it was one of those things that were just like, shit, dude, I'm gonna go now, and I'm gonna drink my coffee there, and then I'll come back.
I like how the Mormons we get 7 wives, and the Muslims are like, we're just gonna bang 7 new virgins.
Just like
there's something in there that got lost in translation somewhere.
Yeah, I know. Like, where is it for everybody else though? Like, what do the Catholics and the Christians have anything of this?
I grew up in an Italian culture, so it's like you have your wife. And then a lot of Italians also have their side piece.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as you're married and faithful to the one.
No, yeah. And I mean, married, and then you go visit mom on Sunday.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
As long you're a good boy, as long as you do
Exactly.
those 2 things.
And you go to church and you say I'm sorry about it.
Yeah, as long as you make it into the confessional.
Yep.
Yeah,
everything's forgiven.
All is forgiven. We're fine, dude. But yeah, dude, I just I don't know if Kanye has anything to come back from that with. Like, that was a hard blow, dude. Like, I'm in bed with your wife.
And he's been getting destroyed by Dio Hughley today.
Oh, really? What happened?
Because he put up a picture of Dio Hughley for no reason. Like, why do you dress like this? And he didn't realize he's coming at a comic.
Yeah.
And Dio has just a whole timeline on his Twitter of just joke after joke after joke destroying him. And then Kanye was like, I think Kanye gave up at that point. Even in his manic rage, he's like, all right, you got me.
No, yeah. I think, and which is hard to do with somebody that's going like full blown mania, but you have to know when you got. Like, especially, you can't keep up with a comic, especially somebody that's like 30 years seasoned.
I know. He's one of the kings of comedy.
Yeah.
What do you?
It's fucking D.L. Hughley.
That's when
dude.
you got to realize, all right, now I got to take the medicine. You know?
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, morning meds, night meds, whatever it needs to be. I'm gonna take them now.
He took him out of the manic state for sure.
No, yeah, dude, brought him right back to reality. Elon Musk is in some shit right now for some stuff he's been saying about the Ukraine war. Have you heard any of this?
Didn't he say he was going to fight Putin?
Well, okay, so that was one of the more recent things.
Okay.
He's been in hot water because the first thing that he posted got a bunch of very, very woke people upset because he posted a picture of a meme that just said, I stand with whatever's in fashion right now. Because everybody goes from masks to Ukraine to this to that. So he's just like, whatever's trending, I stand with that.
Yes, because it happens all the time. And people pick and choose. I mean, the news tells you what one you're supposed to be feeling for.
Yeah.
Because in reality, like, I hate to make it a funny place.
We can do it.
That, like, that same thing is happening in Yemen. That same thing is happening in Palestine, and like they'll get a couple days for each war, and then we completely forget that it happened.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, we forgot about COVID already. All we needed was a war in Ukraine, and it just ended.
Yeah, dude, and it went from, dude, in a matter of 2 days, it went from, hey, you can stop wearing masks, to, hey, fuck the masks, and also, you don't even have to look at a vaccine card when you go into a restaurant.
Yeah, we thought Moderna was going to end it. It was just a Russian injection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. But yeah, so he did that, and then a bunch of people got upset, but it's a joke, obviously. Like, he's making fun of you guys for just being experts on everything.
Everything. Mm-hmm.
And then a day later, he posted, that the Narco show, there's that meme that goes around of Pablo Escobar sitting on the swing set and he looks sad.
Yeah.
So he posted that picture, and it says, Netflix waiting for the war to end to make a movie about a black Ukraine guy that falls in love with a transgender Russian soldier.
Oh, they will.
And he's just been getting lit up for that one.
You know what I love about him? He doesn't care. Does not care.
Once you get to the point of like, I have so much money that I don't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
What are you afraid that you should not be afraid that they're going to take anything away from you?
Yeah, they've tried so many times. It's so many different things. They treat him like Rogan in the same way, where they're just like, we want to take him down for something, so they're just trying for every
little thing they possibly can. It's just like, he said this, he did this.
I just wish that our politicians got held to the same standard as people like him or comedians.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If our presidents got held to the same standard as a comedian does,
God, dude.
You know what I mean?
Dude, we'd have to go back
four
and
people able to run.
Yeah, we'd have to go back and and just cancel every single president that we've had since I don't even know when.
Like the things our presidents have said in the the guy right now, the things he said, way worse than things that Rogan said, and done way worse things. And like, we're in wars and doing all this crazy shit, but some guy is saying something about COVID that you didn't like, and he needs to be stopped. But these people who are bombing the Middle East, they're literally putting people away in prison for years from the crime bills of the past, and then we're like, no, we can't hold them to a standard. Let's just hold comedians to a standard.
Yeah.
So what the fuck is going on?
Let's hold personalities on podcasts and stand-up comedians, and
not the people who are joking. That's what we got to stop.
Yeah, the people that maybe speak seriously 5 minutes out of a 3-hour conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's those people.
They're the real ones we have to worry about, not the people with the bombs.
Evil.
Yeah.
Evil. The people that do this are evil.
Yes.
And I know, dude, it's really wild. It's like the most insane. And I've talked about this before, but like in America, we just do this like overcorrection that just it's just this pendulum that swings all the way this way, and then it gets stuck, and it just stays there for a while. And it's just like, oh, we need to go back to the middle.
Yes,
and it takes years for it to just be like,
it's a long time before that happens. But what is kind of cool is I feel like it'll be like this for a few generations. Then some kids are like the punk generation started. They're like, my parents are a bunch of dorks.
Yeah.
That is going to happen in the future, but it's going to be liberals, and they're going to be conservative punks being like, my parents are dorks.
Oh.
They want to save the world. Climate change. What a bunch of nerds, you know?
Dude, there's going to be some fucking in probably about like 14 years from now, there's going to be some 16-year-old kid that's sitting in therapy going, my parents never gave me a gender at birth.
Yeah, for sure.
He's all up until I decided by looking down at my dick that I'm a boy.
Yeah.
They never called me her or him. It was, I mean, it's going to be the wildest shit these kids have to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Because these adults right now are overcorrecting whatever traumas their parents gave them, and it's just going, instead of finding like a middle ground where he's just like, I just want to have a happy kid.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I'm going to make up for everything.
I know. We were talking about this on my podcast yesterday about, this is what I was thinking, because you know how like every 20 years everything that was crazy is completely normal now. But then those things, like, then there's the new things that you look back and you're like, compared to this, like, imagine what in 20 years from now is going to be, because what's happening right now is going to be norm.
Yeah.
And then in 20 years, we're going to look back and be like, that's what we thought was crazy. You know what I mean?
No,
could you imagine?
Yeah.
I can't even picture what it could possibly be.
And what's going to be the norm then too.
Yes.
No, it's really like kind of mind blowing to think about what it even would be like.
Yeah.
I couldn't even give like a fake scenario right now.
Yeah, and I'm not even like a conservative guy, but I'm just like, it gets so far to a certain way sometimes that I'm like, like Bill Maher was talking about it the other day. He's like, everything is changing, not my opinions. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel. Like, I'm like, I was always left on a lot of issues, but now things have gotten so far that I'm like, you're making me look like I'm on the right.
No, yeah, I feel the same way too, because all the way my whole life, I've always been, you know, like what I considered like pretty goddamn left, but now I look at it and I'm like,
you'd be considered the right.
Yeah, if anything, I'd be like a little bit over to the right now. And it's fucking wild to think about. It's just like, and you know, whatever, I'll take it. But also, I know this about myself, and I am a contrarian by nature. Like,
yeah, every comic's gotta be.
And so it's just like, I hate it. Like I was a terrible person when I was younger, and I was a drug dealer, and I was all kinds of shit, and I hated the cops growing up, right? But now that everybody hates the cops, I like them now.
Yeah, exactly.
The cops, the cops, you're okay in my book.
Yeah, they used to bust our balls as a kid,
Yeah.
like real hard, especially like the Italians in my neighborhood, like the Irish too. But like now that I'm getting older, I'm like, 'cause when people are like, "Oh, we don't need the police," I really thought about it for a second, and I was like, in essence, I used to hate them, but then I really think about it. I'm like, what would we do without the thought that if I do something crazy, I'm gonna end up in prison? Because that's the only thing stopping a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Because if you're not a religious person, then or you don't care about morals, then what's stopping you besides the threat of someone bigger than you beating the shit out of you and raping
Yeah.
you in prison?
If you have no conscience, if you don't have morals, then exactly.
'Cause,
The
like,
only thing stopping you is thought, well, 10 years in prison doesn't
Exactly.
sound fun.
Yeah, like I'm a libertarian for the most part. Like that's I've been pushed to because
Yeah.
I can't see myself on either side. But there's like some libertarians talking about anarcho-libertarian where they don't want any police, and I'm like, that is such a farce too. Like the idea that everyone is a good person, because I grew up around a lot of criminals.
Oh, yeah.
And
The same.
if they want your stuff and there's no one to stop them, they're just gonna take everybody's stuff. We're gonna live like nomads, you know?
No, yeah, like it'll bring forth like the apocalypse in movies that you've
100%.
seen.
It'd be like Mad Max.
Everything. It's you're fighting for what is yours every single day of your life.
It'll be like those Mad Max movies.
Yeah.
Just some weird guy naked on the front of a fucking pickup truck getting driven around. It'd be crazy.
Spraying fucking chrome spray paint in your mouth
Yeah.
and shit. Oh man, yeah, and drinking gasoline. I mean, it's no, dude. I don't see the world getting better without cops. So
No. Don't get me wrong. I do think that and when people are saying defund, I was like, no, we need funding to get.
because it's the wrong message.
Yeah. It's like that's a terrible idea. If you want to make someone better, why would you take more money away from them? You need to train them better. If you don't like the way that they are, and I mean, me and my other friend have talked about this. Like another thing you could do if you don't want police, maybe make them a privatized thing where you could pay to have the police in your area. You pay like a tax, but it's not a mandatory thing, and they will respond to you, like almost like a service.
Yeah.
And then you could hire who you think should be in the area. This way you can't be like, oh, these people are preying on us. You're like, no, then I'm not going to pay you.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, or make the training better, make the pay better, and then people that actually are from your neighborhood will want to join the police force.
Exactly.
And
to
then
keep your neighborhood safe.
that way you have somebody that actually cares about your community, serving your community.
That's how it was like where I'm from. There's the mob used to run the neighborhood.
Yeah,
And yes, they were not good people, but they kept the neighborhood safe because they didn't want any riffraff coming into the neighborhood. So like you could walk around at night and not have to worry. You know what I mean? But then once they were gone, shit got crazy.
Yeah.
You know? And the same thing happened like in Colombia. When Pablo Escobar ran shit, yes, he was a dangerous guy, but all the other gangs were scared to do anything about it.
They wouldn't fuck with anybody.
So as long as you didn't fuck with him, you know what I mean? You could be a lot more safer than you are now.
Yeah, no, it's just defund the police was the wrong message, and that's why it didn't go anywhere.
Exactly.
That just.
Except for Biden the other day, so we need to fund the police. And I was like, hey, wait a minute.
Like, didn't you?
I remember things. Okay, I must have misheard you. I guess it's that stutter that he has.
I could have swore. Okay. We've spoke about it in the beginning. Well, you spoke about it, how the most popular segment on your podcast is Natty or Not, right? Now, as a fun little game, I decided today on this podcast, we're going to play Fatty or Not.
Fatty or Not? Okay.
So I have a bunch of celebrities that have lost, I have pictures of them before and after they've lost a bunch of weight.
Okay.
Now we're going to look at them, and some of them might have been more attractive when they were thicker, and some of them might be better as a thin person.
Okay.
Some of them, it might be easier to tell that they didn't do it all just blood, sweat, and tears.
For sure.
A little bit of stomach staple, whatever, what have you. So we're going to go through a few of these, and don't worry, I'll edit them into the screen, but I'm going to show Nick these right now, and everyone else will be able to see them later.
And this will be me doing no prior research. This
no
is
prior
on the
research.
fly. Okay.
We are just going gut feeling on
Okay.
this. Okay. Let's see. Where are we going to start? We're going to start with. There's a couple people on here. I have no idea who they are. Okay. Adele.
Okay. Adele, I'm going to say, first off, she looks great. I hated how people, like the fat shame movement, like the fat phobia movement, I don't know what they call themselves, like shamed her for losing weight, which drove me crazy.
That upset me.
Because they're like, hey, we really like you a lot, but we don't want you to live too long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like if you like her music, then you should want her to live as long of a life as possible.
It's fucking insane, dude. Like I really okay. Like, but before he gets into this, I just want to say, as a fat guy who's working on it, by the way, with the help from this guy, I just want to say that you can't be like, oh, body positivity, and then hate on somebody for fixing their body.
Exactly.
Like if they sure, you might say that you like being fat. I just think that you're lazy. I see, and it's fine if I say it. If he says it, you get mad.
Hey, I was fat when I was younger.
Oh, hey, yeah. So he was a chunky boy too. But listen, like, I just feel that most people that are like, I'm happy being thick and body positivity and this, that, and the other, I just think that they don't want to put in the work.
Yeah,
because that's how I was for a long time. I didn't want to do the work.
Part of it's too, it's just like people aren't educated on how weight works and how calories work. Because once you find out how to do it the right way, and that there's ways where you could not starve yourself and lose weight at the same time, like I'm sending you recipes and stuff like that, like the pizzas and stuff like that. Like,
fantastic.
You don't have to sit there and just eat grilled chicken and broccoli
every single meal.
Yeah, you could eat fun and still lose weight. But getting to Adele, I'm gonna say I think she did it. Did they say the time span?
I believe it was. I believe it was kind of during COVID, so I think it was like a year and a half.
It is possible that she did it naturally. I don't know if she got surgery or not. She never went into that. But if I had to guess, I'm going to say with the amount of money that she has, and she was very overweight, and it's possible for someone her weight to lose a lot of weight a lot faster. Like because she's not like deathly skinny yet. I do think that she has the money for really good personal trainers and really good like nutritionists, stuff like that. So with people cooking all her meals for her, as long as she just followed what they said, it is possible to do. It is attainable naturally.
And that's something that I've always kind of thought too, is because like it's in the past of watching like certain celebrities or comedians, whoever, like for instance Tom Segura, like he's gotten a lot thinner, and I always equated that to they were able to do this once they had more money.
For sure. Yeah.
And sure, like you can do it without it, but I'm not lying, it is more difficult.
Well, yeah, especially because like a lot of the coaches that do what I do, like you look at a guy like Greg Doucette, who's a bigger name on YouTube, but he does what I do, but he charges $14,000 instead of my price. You know what I mean? So
a month?
I think it's for 2 months or 3 months.
Christ.
So yes, for most people to get it, like a lot of people don't realize there are coaches out there that know their stuff at better prices, but a lot of people think like, oh, I have to go with these celebrity trainers, when all it really comes down to is knowing how to do the math and knowing what works. So yeah, I mean, she probably could afford someone like that, and nutritionists to probably come to her house, because I know people who have actual chefs at their house. So someone's cooking things for you, and you're just like, all right, I'm just gonna eat whatever they make for me. It's pretty easy to do. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, definitely. Especially if you have, the means to have a chef and everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So next we have Jessica Simpson.
I didn't realize she lost weight.
Yeah. So Jessica Simpson, she didn't get that big.
No, I think the best way to describe her body is like Karen at Walmart. Like she would definitely have a big problem in a parking lot somewhere. Like, this is my parking spot.
No, yeah. She got to the point, like she got to the look where like she would scrap over like that last thing of oat milk.
Her body, it fit her voice.
Or half and half.
Like she had that, like, because she always had that redneck voice. So she definitely has the look in the second picture.
Definitely.
Like she looks like she could be dating Danny McBride. And what's that baseball show?
Eastbound and Down?
Yes.
Oh, shit. No, yeah. She looks like she could have played his April.
She's another one where I'm going to say this. She had a great body before, so she had the work ethic at some point. So I don't think that she did any surgery. Maybe she took like some supplements and stuff like that because, she's younger. She didn't have like someone like Adele when she was at that weight, taking certain stimulants, stuff like that will mess with your heart. And at that size, I'm sure she couldn't, that would be a lot to be putting on her heart. Maybe she took something like ephedrine or clenbuterol or something like that, but she definitely has like the work ethic from before, and I'm sure that she just got back into it for the most part because She's still not like the same body she used to have, but I mean, she looks great for her age. So I would say, I'm going to say most likely Natty. If anything, I'll say that she probably could afford something like HGH, which a lot of people don't realize what that actually does. Because HGH, you think it's like a steroid, but it actually doesn't make you bigger unless you're taking an insane amount.
Oh, okay.
In reality, what it does is it makes you. It's the fountain of youth. It's good for your, like for anti-aging. You lose body fat very fast. You sleep better. Like it's overall health.
Oh.
Shit.
Learn
It's just
something new.
very, very expensive. Like
Yeah.
anywhere from $400 to $700 a month, which
God
is
damn.
why it's the fountain of youth, because only rich people could afford it. So that could be something she could take because she's not aging very bad. She's aging amazing. Like
Yeah.
people like her, J-Lo, we talked about her on my podcast where we're like her former husband A-Rod was known for being the HGH
yeah,
king.
yeah, no, yeah. There was a whole documentary made about it, right? Like about his like Florida steroid and all that shit.
You don't date the king of that and not age and be like, hey, wait a minute, you know?
No, there's nothing going on.
Yep.
Yes, there is. All right, so the next one is going to be Jonah Hill. Now, Jonah has like, if I'm going to talk first, I think Jonah possibly did it all, just by hard work because of how much he fluctuates, I think, because it's like time on, time off.
That's what I was going to say. With him, what I think he's doing, and I'm speculating, so I don't mean to talk shit about him, but he yo-yo diets a lot. So what I think he does a lot is he crash diets, because like he gets abused in the media all the time because of the way he looks.
Yeah.
And whenever he loses weight, he gets shit for like, oh, you don't want to be the fat guy anymore. Like they treat him like shit,
no matter what he does, really.
So I really think that he has probably an eating disorder because of the way people treat him. And I don't fucking blame him because I watched some of his interviews. So he looks like he yo-yo diets because he'll lose so much weight, get lean, look great, and all of a sudden he'll just blow back up. And that's a very common thing when people don't know how to diet and they just lose weight too fast. It's going to come back on just as fast and it's going to pack on bigger each time,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, Bobby Kelly, the comic?
Oh, yeah,
He has
yeah.
a joke like the stage is a fat because you lose the weight and then you yo-yo back up and now you're on stage 2.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's done that so many times.
Yeah, dude. And Bobby Kelly's so fucking funny. That man's a fucking legend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that concludes Fatty or Not. Now we're going to get into a couple of these the worst with Nick Simmons real quick. All right. So basically, if you don't know the show, I'm going to ask you about worst and most embarrassing moments, and usually prompted by a question about if you have a story.
Okay.
We go forward to it. So first quote, worst sexual experience.
I've had a lot. Had a lot of bad ones, had a lot of good ones, but I'll say the one that's, I guess this one doesn't, there's one that I'll say counts and one that doesn't count.
Okay.
One was after a show, this girl, I asked her for her social media, and it was actually when I was living in New York, but I came to visit out here, and I was after a show, this girl's like talking to me, and I'm like, oh, do you have social media? She's like, not really. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, not like any of the ones that most people know. And I was like, what does that mean? And she's like, you ever heard of FetLife? And I was like, no. And then I was like, oh, fetish? Oh, I was like, oh, okay. And then we're talking like, so what's your thing? And she's like, I'm a baby. And I was like, do I want to know what that's about? So we start texting later on, and then she sends her a picture of herself wearing like a baby bonnet with a pacifier in her mouth.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna pass. You know what I mean? Because I guess that one doesn't count because we didn't smash.
But still, that's I mean that shit happens a lot with people. Just you really don't know what somebody's into until
Yes.
So, and I mean that's one of the glorious things about social media stuff is you could actually speak to somebody before you actually have to get into
for sure.
it. Because I'm sure if you didn't know about this prior and you ended up just getting her number instead and then heading over and then you show up and she's in a diaper and a bonnet, but
you go to hook up and you're smoking
Also-
a cigarette afterwards and she's drinking out of a bottle. No, I'd say the weirdest one was this girl, because I like to be like more dominant and stuff like that. And like this girl, we're talking and she's like, I don't like that. I like to be the dominant one. And she was like 4'11", like 100 pounds. And I was like, you gonna dominate me? And she's like, yes. And I was like, I mean, I'll try it, So I was like, I'll let her try. So she's trying to choke me, and I have an 18-inch neck, and she has these tiny hands, so I have to like go with you got me.
it's like her hands are.
It was like I was like trying not to laugh, and then she's like, "Can I tie you up?" And I was like, all right, sure. And I thought she was going to pull out like rope. No, she had actual shackles welded to her bed. Like,
Oh no!
I was
shit.
like, what TaskRabbit put these here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So I was like, all right. And she puts them on me, and I'm like chained to her bed. And then she's like, now I'm going to blindfold you. And I was like, I didn't agree to that. And she's like, I'm putting it on you. And I'm like, all right. And she goes, I'll be right back. And she goes into the bathroom right next to the bedroom. And I can't see anything. I'm just locked in like this. And I'm like, what the fuck is going to happen? And all of a sudden I hear something vibrating. And I was like, nope. And I swear, I hulked her bed. Like, I bent the whole thing. The frame got fucked up because I chest flied her whole bed. I was like, ah. And she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, you're not doing that. You're not putting that up my ass. And she goes, I was brushing my teeth. And I was like, oh, no, I ruined the whole fucking bed. She was trying to brush her teeth before she started kissing me.
Oh,
and I'm like, Jesus.
God.
I mean, we hooked up, but she never talked to me again after that.
Holy shit, dude. That is, I mean.
That was a worst, for sure.
But goddamn, dude. What a fucking fantastic story.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, just because obviously you get strapped to a bed, you hear something vibrating from the distance.
I was like, this is not happening. I am not letting this happen right now. Yeah.
You automatically think something's going up my ass.
100%. Yeah.
I'm not ready for that. I didn't sign up for that.
No. And
I'm going to do what I have to do to get out of here.
And I'm like, why didn't you brush your teeth before I got here, you fucking psychopath?
Or, just fucking, shout it out from the bathroom. Be like, hey, I'll be right back.
Brush my teeth real quick.
Gonna brush my teeth.
Yeah, I have a blindfold on. I'm shackled. I'm like, what? No. What else do you think is going to happen?
The worst is going to happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking the worst. Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
So that's definitely my worst.
All right. What's your worst night out drinking? Your worst drinking story?
I've never really been a big drinker. Let me think. Because I was more of a club type of guy. Like, I used to go to this club called Pasha in New York that would stay open until like 10 in the morning. So you can imagine it wasn't a lot of just drinking.
Was it Molly and Coke?
Molly, ketamine, all that.
Okay, so do you have a good story?
I could tell you my first story the first time I took Molly.
Oh, yeah. Those are always fun.
So we're at a local bar in the Bronx, and I had never tried it before. And one of my friends was like, yo, I got to connect. I could go get it. And I was like, all right, cool. No problem. I'll try it. And what I didn't know before this was we were like, because it was a bunch of us, my friend who had the connect already had some from that kid like a while back. So he had just like a little bit left in a bag in his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, you guys just get yours. I didn't know about that part. So we pick it up from the kid and we get a gram of it each, which a gram of it is equal to 8 to 10 Molly capsules.
Yeah.
And it's just a bag of it. So he goes into the bathroom and does his. And he comes out of the bathroom, and I'm like, how much did you take? And he goes, I just finished the bag, not knowing that he meant he just
had a
tiny bit. So I was like, all right, cool. So I go in the bathroom and just dump the whole gram in my mouth. And I come back out, and he goes, all right, so you save some for when we get to Pasha. We weren't going to Pasha. We were going to go to another bar afterwards. He goes, you're going to save some for the rest of the night, right? And I was like, nah, I just finished the whole thing. He goes, oh, no. And I'm like, what? And he goes, dude, you have no idea how much you just took. And I'm like, am I going to die? And he goes, I don't know, man, you might. And I was like, oh, shit.
That's the worst thing to say to somebody that's never done it.
So then the next thing I know, I'm in the back patio of this bar, and I could hear everyone's conversations around me. And I was talking to my friend, and he's like, why are you talking out of the side? I was like talking like Popeye out of the side of my mouth, and I couldn't tell. Yeah. I was like, I don't know. And I was like, I don't feel good, man. And he goes, we got to get you to Pasha. And I was like, I don't know what that means, because it's my first time. I never went there before.
Yeah.
So as I'm walking on the bar, this is right after a breakup, I'm walking out of the bar, and my ex-girlfriend walks in front of me, and she goes, hey, she goes, you look good. And I literally pushed her away. I said, you look weird. And I just kept on walking. And I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. So we get to Pasha. And when I tell you, this place was the perfect place for that to have happened.
Yeah.
Because everybody at it's a 4-story nightclub in New York City. Well, they closed down because too many ODs. But it was 4 stories of everyone tripping balls on something. And like you see other people that are way more fucked up than you, and it just calms you down.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, if they could do that, I'm fine.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that guy's alive.
Yeah, you're allowed to take your shirt off there in case you are too fucked up on ecstasy and stuff like that. So it was like the perfect thing. And I remember going to the smoking section, and I start talking to this girl, and she had a crayon sticker on her arm. And I don't know if this is funny or just weird. I was like, that's a cool sticker. And she goes, yeah, it's because I'm covering up this. And she had like legit a hole in her arm that I guess she had hepatitis or something like that. And I'm like, this is weird. I need to keep on moving on.
Jesus Christ.
And then I met another girl there because the smoking section's where everyone who was fucked up would just blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I met this other girl, and she kept on saying, I want to house the shit out of you. And I didn't know what those. I thought it was like sexual. I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. She goes, I'm going to house the fuck out of you. And I'm like, nice. And she goes, let's go. Let's walk into the club. So we walk in, and then she just starts dancing. And I was like, oh, what's happening? I guess housing means she was going to beat me in a dance battle. I didn't realize I agreed to a dance battle. And my friends are just watching. They're like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know.
That's wild.
And they're like, it felt like Rocky. My friends are like, get the fuck out of there. And I just walked out. I'm like, I thought I was going to fuck. I just lost the dance battle. I'm like,
dude, I just got housed.
It was a crazy night. That was a crazy one.
That's fucking, you got housed.
Yeah.
Have you ever shit your pants as an adult?
Yeah. The worst time was on my first day of college. I was on the way there. I pulled into the parking lot, and I'm like, this is a fart. And I farted. It was not. And I missed my first day of school, of my first day of college.
Dude, I was thinking about this the other day because I was at work.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk into the bathroom and the toilet's broken and I had to shit and I was like, fuck. So, so I had to wait and I had to call. And luckily it was before the restaurant opened. So I just went in the ladies' room, but it made me think of this time where, in Palm Springs, I had this little apartment with just one bathroom and my kid flushed her bracelet down the toilet and our toilet was busted. Like we had to have a guy come out. And so my wife was at work. It was my day off. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, I'll stay home. I'll wait for the guy. The guy shows up, and I'm not kidding. Like it was like a timer went off in my brain. It's just like you have to shit now, and I was just like, and I'm like, well, where do I go? I have nowhere to go. I don't know any of my neighbors, and I'm not sure they're not comfortable enough to be like, hey, I'm gonna go shit in a tiny bathroom. And so I have my two cats and my dog, like I have them locked in the bedroom with me, and I take a Target shopping bag and I just squat over it, like I'm just squatting over it in front of my animals are all just staring at me, and I'm just in my bedroom, and I'm just hovering over this bag, hoping I make it all in, and I kid you not, I finished, I tied it up. I peek out the door to see if the guy's like in the bathroom so I can dart out to the dumpster. And I do that and I make it out the door and he goes, all right, all done.
Oh, shit.
Fuck. I was like, I did not have to do any of this.
Actually, one of my worst shit stories wasn't even my pants. It was just I had to go. So I was working in electrical work and I was working with my cousin for his company and he worked in, it's called Westchester, New York, which is like the Beverly Hills of New York.
Okay.
It's above the city and it's like where all like the CEOs actually live and stuff like that. And there was like woods behind this house and I had to go. And like the family was home, and I'm like, man, if I go in the woods, no one will notice. I don't want to do it in their house. Because I asked my cousin, he's like, you can't shit in this $2 million house. I was like, all right. And so I go in the woods, and I come out of the woods, and the guy opens up the screen door. They were eating dinner with their family, and he goes, did you just shit behind my house? And I was like, no. He's like, we all just watched you shit behind my house. I was fucking mortified.
Oh God, dude! Could you just imagine? You're like, yeah, dude, I think I got a good spot. Yes.
I had a friend who, because it's funny, your septic story. I don't know if we have time because it would be too off topic, but he ruined a family because of their septic tank. So he was dating this girl for like 6 years in high school. Like they met each other, like, and they lost their virginity to each other. And he always would bang her at his mom and dad's house, at her mom and dad's house. So every day he would just, after he had sex, he would just throw the condom in the toilet and just flush it down the toilet. And just after 6 years of just condoms in the toilet, the whole septic system got destroyed. And for some reason, I guess their parents have been fighting that whole time. That was the last straw that their parents couldn't deal with each other anymore. And they got a divorce. And it ruined her whole life just from him flushing condoms down the toilet for years. I guess at one point, his mom and dad were just, we just can't take. It's just another thing we just can't take. And we're done. So his condoms literally ruined that girl's family's life.
No,
it was crazy.
Way. Dude, honestly, when this whole Drake hot sauce thing happened, that was the first time I found out that you're not supposed to flush condoms.
You didn't know that?
I did not know.
I mean, I haven't worn one in years. But
I had been doing it for years, and it was just like, and then they're like, So I saw somebody comment like, "Why didn't he just flush it?" And then somebody on the internet just berate him for saying that. And I was
You're like,
like,
oh, I'm glad he said that.
"Oh, word. All right."
It's almost like, you know, when someone died, like, remember during the pandemic when someone would die and you're like, I wonder if it's because of COVID. And then someone asks, is it because of COVID?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, you're an asshole for asking that. And you're like, thank God you asked, because I don't want to be the guy.
I did not want to be the guy, but I was just I've been lurking this comment section for 10 minutes
I'm like,
waiting
someone
for one
say
of you
something.
assholes to do it. All right, so the very last thing is a rapid fire series of questions called Are You the Worst? Where I'm just going to ask you a series of questions that I ask everybody, and at the end we'll find out if you're the worst or not.
Okay.
All right. Have you ever stolen from your parents?
Yeah.
Have you ever lied to your spouse?
Like my fiance?
Yeah.
No, I try and I stay completely honest with.
That's good.
Yeah. She's so open that I could tell her whatever.
Then that's also really key too. 'Cause sometimes it's not like that. Have you ever been a bully?
No, but I got reverse bullied once.
Yeah?
Yeah, some kid lied because he didn't like me and told his mom that I was bullying him and got my parents to beat the shit out of me. And the next day in school, he's like, haha. And I was like, what the fuck?
No way.
I don't know why he hated me, but he did that to me. I'll never forget that kid. It's kid Dominic, fucking piece of shit.
Fuck you, Dominic,
Yeah.
you piece of shit. Have you ever cheated on someone?
Never cheated. I waited till I was after the relationship, and then I banged the girl that I wanted to. But I did wait.
Yeah, I mean, you might have somebody lined up, but you wait.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever worn Crocs?
No, I refuse.
Fuck yeah.
I don't even wear sandals to the beach. I'm from New York.
Guy. Fuck yes, dude. I don't wear sandals either. Sandals are garbage.
No.
Have you ever worn jorts?
For a sketch, never for any good reason.
All right. And have you ever made fun of a retarded person?
I say the word retarded a lot. I would never call a retarded person retarded. Only if someone's being retarded.
Dog, I'm right there with you. I say the word retarded constantly.
All the
but
time.
It's usually like it's at a friend, it's in a bit, or it's to my daughter, and that's it.
I have a whole thing about that. Like, because I'm like, because people are always like, oh, if you say the word retarded, that might hurt someone who's special's feelings. And I'm like, who's worse, me who said retarded, or you the one who's like, hey man, they're talking about you?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not. I would never say that.
It's just
That's
like, did
crazy.
you hear what he just said about you? Like, it wasn't about me. Fuck yeah, dude. Nick, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, man.
Is there anything that you want to, anything else besides, we already plugged the podcast, but anything else you want to plug?
Yeah, just follow the podcast.
Follow the podcast. Follow Nick, not Nick Simmons, on Instagram so you can, see the shows he has coming up.
For sure.
He's a funny motherfucker, and if you're in LA, he's doing shows a lot.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Appreciate it, man. This has been the worst for Chad Austin. Do the likes and the rates and the reviews and the subscribes and all that stuff. I'll take any help I can get. Thank you.